How's it going, y'all? Taking my supplements. How's it going? Vika, how's it going, man? Make sure Mark got in here, guys. How's it going? Gonna have Mark Hollander in here in just a few minutes from Flatten the Curve, film that releases on the 22nd of this month, 2/22/22. Izzy, Bustin' Biscuits, what's up, brother? Mark, so we got some, we're having TikTok newbies. So just working through, getting logged in and things. And it's also a whole new different thing. They're using my secondary account to be able to go live with us. So just bear with us as we get connected. It's just how it is with going live on TikTok. There is no practice. You just have to go live. So it is what it is, guys. Brucey. What's up, man? The movie coming out is Flatten the Curve. Comes out on the 22nd. Cool. I've got my messenger up on my iPad also, Vika. In the comments there is Vika Drazo, guys. Y'all should follow him if you get a chance. He's actually the director of Flatten the Curve. He's the one that got everybody together to make it happen. So it's pretty cool. It's his first big, you know, what normal people consider first big film, you know. So that's pretty awesome and pretty excited about that. And so that's what we're going to be talking about again tonight once we get Mark in here. Rod. Roddy Piper. Hey guys, also check out realtruthseekers.net. That's actually where the movie will be streaming from the day it releases. That will be the original source for it to stream. I'll also stream it on this channel, on my main channel, with the screen sharing feature the day it comes out. I'm going to just put it on there live streaming it, and I'll jump in the room and chat with everybody every now and then while it's going, and back and forth, and just kind of let that go most of the day. On that day I'll be at my mom's for her birthday, but we'll make it happen. Patriots always win. Free people will always win. Yep, Taylor, that's right. Mach 11. I'm actually kind of bored as far as the debate, which is why I'm kind of going this direction, trying to bring people in. I want to bring in these guys that are doing work. I want to bring in anybody else. Hey, if you're watching and you're interested, even if it's not flat earth stuff, if you build things or you make things and you want to sell them and get your name out there, I will bring you on live. If your account's not big enough to go live, I'll let you use my guest account like I'm doing with these guys to flatten the curve. The curve. Sorry. Register, do you see the ultimate flat earth test on there with the post? I don't think I saw it, Brucey. I haven't really been on much today. I've been doing kid stuff and around the house. That's all good. I don't even remember what I was saying. Shit. Oh, anyway, yeah, back to if people want to come on and talk and build up their business or whatever. My entire goal is to get people connected. That's why I am doing this. On my website, which is TruEarth TrueMan.com, I have a page still being built. It'll be a friends page that will take people. Like if you want to be on there, I will put like a little bio for whatever it is that you do that you're offering, whether it's you're a musician or an artist, or you make guitars or you make belts and shit, you know, whatever it is that you do, or you're trying to build a farmer's market in your area and you want to get live and talk about it. That's what I want, and I'll showcase that with links and things on my website, and also have people on here live. My entire purpose is not to divide people and make us argue. It is to bring us together, and pointing out some obvious lies and mishaps by our government that make us question a lot of things is not to divide us and make us argue, but to make us question and look for truth. So that's the whole purpose of being here anyway. Any word on Mark? Let me check my messenger over here. I've not been paying attention. It's a matter of fact that this goes out to the ones they look to, hoping that the message in our jam would hook you up in a hurry, that you could be locked in. This is a... Oh. Let's see if it's in there. Nope, not yet. So Mark Hollander's who we're having in, he's written a book. It's called FlatTruth, and he's part of the film for Flatten the Curve that's coming up, and he's going to chat about the film, his role with that, and then for the first little bit, and then we're going to just chat and see what's up, talk about him and what led him to become a flat earther or a truth seeker or whatever you want to call it. Let me see, here's Ian. No, not yet. What's up, Sean? What'd you say? What's up with your boy? Man, people gotta question things and search. Matthew, what's up, brother? How's it going? Bum, bum, bum. Yeah, I have a response for that one. I just couldn't at the moment. I had a kid on me sleeping. So the water tension thing, you can try to make this argument for it in a glass of motionless water that is at rest, maybe, that you're getting tension, but you can't make that claim with a moving body of water. You never go, there's no tension. It's in motion. Awesome, good deal. Just waiting on Mark to get logged in here. He's logging into my guest account. Sometimes it's a little tricky getting logged in. My son Justin Pollack makes YouTube videos on mystery history. Nice. What's his YouTube channel? I'll check it out. Actually, tell it to me now while I'm thinking. While I'm Oh, it's just his name. Gotcha. Pollack. Nice. I'm gonna subscribe real quick. Check that out. All right, contained water. Not in motion. Well, and you can actually test that theory. We can test that theory easily, especially if we make it with some salt water. Sorry, my brain went blank. Salt water, and get some magnets on the outside of the glass, and you're not going to have that tension because the magnet's going to make the water move. And you'll lose it. You might spill a little water over the edge, but then you lose that surface tension because the magnets are going to move it. Yeah. Dude, that's awesome. Are you up there in it right now? That's two-tone danger T. Antarctica is where it's at. See, and here's the thing about that is I kind of think it is, but then I kind of think that Antarctica is the distraction, and maybe the North Pole is where it's at, where we should be trying to go. Toronto. Hey Vicky, any word on Mark? Let me see. And what else? Can y'all hear the music? Is it loud? Too loud? Got it pretty low, I feel like. Journey to the Center of the Per Hollywood says a lot, yeah. I sent him the login info. Hold on, let me resend it again. He just needs to log in as if he's logging into his own account, but with my info. Hold on. Bum, 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 ba-doo. Alright, I'll resend the... Can use the spoons to play. Yeah. Hold on, let me make sure I put the right... Didn't mean to hit that button. Let me check and make sure I saved that password the right way. Well, let's see. Sorry guys, bear with me. I'm just trying to make sure I've got the password right in here.
Oh, well, it's showing us the password, so that was the old one, so maybe I just did the wrong number. All right, now let's... All right, I think we got this worked out now. Just... All right. What's up, Laura? What are you doing? Make me one. I like quinoa too. Y'all deliver? Miss you too. Miss all you. I need to get out, don't I? It's almost springtime. Sun's out, Robbie's out. That's pretty much how it is. I'm the opposite of a vampire. I need the sun. Well, does it have dairy in it? I don't think it's cheese. I don't know. I've tried to do some of the healthy stuff and it's not good. Like, oh, it's just as good. You just gotta. The basics of it, I've never really gotten into it, Sean, but not deep anyway. The basis of it is oxymoron. Yes, it is an oxymoron. Is the basis of the three body problem is once you get, even in computer models and stuff, they can get two bodies, say the Earth and the Moon, to do their supposed rotations, spinning and orbiting, and make it do it properly the way it should. But as soon as you throw the third body in, it goes into chaos mode and goes crazy. I just try to stick to the physical. I can see way too far. All the time. That's just me. Well, I mean, it has to be in space because that's the presupposition, is that it's in space. So everything is in space. The presupposition is that everything is in space as soon as you leave ground level. Cool, Mark's in, guys. So he just got to come over here to jump in on the live, and then we can get him in. Yeah. My explanation is that is a claim that you need to prove. You're making a claim that no one has ever seen Polaris from south of the equator, when
I've seen claims of people seeing the the Polaris south of the equator, as far as 23 degrees. So, I mean, it's a claim. I'm not going to claim one way or the other.
What's up, buddy?
What's up, Mark? How's it going, man?
I can't believe I was able to navigate without Vika's help. I still be we'll be here until tomorrow morning.
You got to get used to new logins and how stuff works on a whole new. You've been probably logging into Facebook for 20 years almost, and
I'm brainwashed through Facebook.
Yeah.
How are you?
Man, I'm doing good. Doing good.
Just want to apologize for the delay. It's
just all good.
Let you start it out, and we're only an hour late. The way I figure it, it's 6 o'clock Central anyway, right? It's 7 o'clock.
It is 6 Central, yeah, 7 Eastern. 7 Eastern, yes, sir. I'm glad you can jump in with us, man. Guys, this is Mark Hollander. He's part of the new film that's getting ready to come out on the 22nd, Flatten the Curve. It's put together by our friend Vika Draza, who is also in the comments watching right now. If you want to give him a follow. Mark also has a new TikTok account. I think it's just your name, just Mark Hollander, right?
I don't know. I kind of used your secondary account to put my mugshot on it, so I didn't know what the heck I was doing.
You're all good, man. But we've got, so if you want to give those guys a follow and help, we can get some of their content and their interaction over here maybe every now and then, instead of over in Facebook world.
Absolutely.
But anyway, Mark's going to talk with us a little bit about his role in the film, and we're just going to kind of go from there.
Well, first and foremost, I'm honored to be part of your TikTok kingdom. It's really not a fault. Am I a little nervous? You got 50,000 followers, so kudos to you. And it's just it's obviously you have amazing content and amazing delivery. The ability to be able to attract enough TikTok followers to fill up a football stadium. And I believe that's it's very honorable, and it's a doggone great pleasure to be on your show. And but I was as far as Flatten the Curve, it was I guess over the last few years, we've seen some of these film documentaries come out, and I think it kind of tarnished the truth in a gigantic way. And I don't mind calling people out for the failures of the mockability of the mainstream successfully being able to mock and ridicule the truth community, as well as the flat Earth community. And
right.
Yeah, I will refer back to a movie called it was on Netflix. I think it was Behind the Curve. And I know some of these characters. I will not call them out by name because that's just not my nature. I try to stay humble as I can and just let the chips fall as they may. But obviously there was very problematic, and I think thank God for Vika Draza, because without his ideas and I believe he could probably share the same information I would be able to, as far as just thinking that, there's got to be a better way to do it. We don't need these people in the flat Earth community, these wannabe celebrities, they want to be famous. And it's not about the truth. You shouldn't have to pay for the truth. The truth should be free. And then going to these events, I actually went to the FEIC convention, and I had Shelley Lewis with me representing, Ferret Radio Live. That's our YouTube channel. And, we had a good time, but I could see the lines were drawn between who was real and who was artificial.
Right.
I didn't like the Christ bashing. To most of those guys, they trying to make a buck. They putting out flyers to third grade students getting arrested for it. We're not about that. We're about let's do it in a way where it's going to resonate to the community that, hey, we're not just regular Tom, Dick, Joe, or Harry's. This movie, Flatten the Curve, is going to be legendary because you have people like Rob Taylor, Joshua Silver, Kevin Boberick, Eddie Allen Carr, you got people in the military know-how, people who actually fly. They create the mechanics of the gyroscope, create the rocket engines at NASA, for crying out loud. So these are people in the know. They've logged thousands upon thousands of flying hours. So kudos to Vika to be able to get the most professional people possible, that their credibility is unquestioned. Now, I was able to slide in there with my book, so I'm a book author, and but I'm very, very honored to be in Flatten the Curve, and I had Vika on my show, but all the cast of characters is just blowing you away, and I know it's blowing you away, like it has most people.
Just doesn't seem interested in trying to build an account or whatever. So it is what it is. He's got his thing going.
Anyway, can you hear me, Robbie?
Okay, I can hear you now, man.
Okay. All right. So sorry about the delay again. And I'm looking at a question. Do you guys think they killed Rob Skiber? It's hard to know what they did or didn't do with Rob. Rob was actually a guest on my show a couple of times on Ferret Radio Live. And Rob was one of the few mainstream truthers. Can I use that word, Robbie? Mainstream truthers that I actually took a liking to. He seemed a little bit more humble than the rest of the guys. And so I did go to attend one conference. And after that Netflix fiasco called Behind the Curve, people like Vika Drazi decided, you know what, we need to do something about this. We need to bring professionals in their trade that's automatically in the limelight, but not these wannabe celebrities that we got from the past that they trying to put a square peg in a round hole. And I think this movie, Flatten the Curve, offers that. It offers you an insight of professional people in the military. They've built their rocket engines. They've logged thousands and thousands of flying hours. I'm talking about high military capabilities of people that's actually on merchant ships like Francis Miller, Rob Taylor, helicopter engineer. He speaks, 7 or 8 different languages. Joshua Silver. You got some of the best, and they all telling you the same thing. Guess what, guys? It's flat.
It's flat.
We're not living on a ball.
Dude, I live next to Cherry Point Marine Air Base, like a quarter of a mile. I'm mainly a full-time dad now, and I bartend on weekends and every now and then, stuff like that. And I've had full-out conversations with multiple pilots, and they will tell you, like, it's flat.
Yeah, amazingly enough, I've had some conversations with pilots. Most recently in St. Louis, Missouri, I had to go work a sail in near St. Louis, and I'm exiting the aircraft, and the captain, big old tall fellow, about 6'5", and I said, "Captain, tell me the truth. Is it a ball or is it flat?" And he says, "It's definitely flat." However, I didn't have my camera on, so it was kind of a moment that I lost because you got to take my word for it. But it'd be more credibility on my side if I had my video going on while asking that question. So,
but how many more videos of somebody asking that question do we need to see? You know what I mean? Like, at some point, I've asked them myself. I've seen other people do it. Like, at what point is it not okay? You've got people that say it. Like, rather than attack and just say, okay, you've got these professionals claiming something different than the mainstream. Why don't we actually look at it? But nobody wants to do that. They want to automatically just try to, everything is a debunk rather than trying to prove themselves they want to debunk.
Right, right. The problem with all of that is, they then believe that you're in some type of cult, that only the ancients believed the world was flat. They look at you as being uneducated, this, that, and the other. But yeah, I'm in a cult, Robbie. We brainwash people into thinking for themselves. You know what I mean? I mean, that's the kind of cult that I'm in. And
like, it's the cult where the guy gets up and says, "Hey guys, don't believe anything I say. Take it with a grain of salt, but go try it and check it out and verify it for yourself."
right.
That's
Right. I mean,
cult.
just like Nikola Tesla had suggested, when Tesla was doing his 230 inventions, and I believe Albert Einstein has zero. So Tesla was the man with the plan, actually, and but he used to make fun of Einstein because he says, real science, actually, what we thought of real science as being, especially in the 18, 19, even in the up until World War II, real science was being able to have the ability to observe your experiment, to test your experiment, and then repeat that experiment.
Do an experiment to begin with.
What's that?
Do an experiment to begin with.
Right, exactly. And he made a quote by Tesla was, they not no longer doing real science. They substituting science today with mathematical equations after equations to form a model that has no relation to reality. So that was a direct a soft attack through wording. He didn't use Albert Einstein's name, obviously, but he was actually referring to people like Einstein, because the only way that Einstein's theory of relativity actually worked, that model only worked because they kicked out ether out of the equation. So ether is like a secret society word. Yeah, we know what ether is in the electromagnetism. But when you kick ether out of the equation, then he tried to make his congobulated experiment as far as trying to prove gravity. Actually, they could never, but just to make his equation work. And Einstein was once asked, how's it feel to be the smartest man in the world? And Einstein replied, I don't know. You better go ask Tesla. So it's Tesla wasn't in science books. Never was. We accidentally found out about Tesla through the FOIA in the age of the internet, the freedom of information. Just the computer explosion, the social media explosion, what we have today. Just to give you a little gander at that, the most listened to media person in the world is Joe Rogan. Yeah. He's got 12 million listeners a day. I mean, we all look at people like Tucker Carlson or Sean Hannity on Fox, and Tucker Carlson is the second most watched at 3 million. So you can take Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity, all of CNN, MSNBC combined, and they all have a listening audience that Joe Rogan has. So that's money. When people have that power to influence 12 million listeners a day, you can almost say anything you'd like on your podcast, because just recently they got rid of Neil Young and all these ancient dinosaurs from the past. You know what I mean? I mean, people.
Bro, when I saw that, I was like, "What?" Like, the last time I heard from him, it was in Sweet Home Alabama. Like,
right.
or heard about him. That was in it. That was it.
Well, I mean, the thing about it, Spotify pays Joe Rogan $100 million a year, and it's like, okay. And Neil Young suggested, hey, it's either my music or Joe Rogan. Well, guess what? Spotify said, bye-bye, Neil Young. I mean, it's just like he cannot compete with that, but he's trying to make a whimper of a noise.
Check this stuff out. So Rumble, not that I trust Rumble, because I think they're just an arm of the GOP, and I think it's all just a power play, and they're all the same in reality. But Rumble has just offered Joe Rogan $100 million to come over there with his platform, and they will not have him with any restrictions.
Right.
Just let him do his thing. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, hey, as far as again, just with that gigantic audience, because regardless of what Joe Rogan does, and I think Spotify recognizes this, that
he did, Sean.
They want to keep him because he's got 12 million listeners per day. I mean, obviously, that's a lot.
There ain't nothing getting the play that Joe Rogan is getting. It's insane.
It's absolutely insane. A lot of people don't even recognize it. I mean, if you're a mainstream media follower and listen and you're brainwashed to the idiot box, people just don't have a clue what actual real power is. And thank God that we do have. I think he's sort of a shill. He used to believe in the moon hoax.
All right, so check this out. That's what I was going to actually say. But I think he's one of those. This is where controlled opposition is going to get. I think Joe Rogan is where they lose control of it, because he's so big that if he just all of a sudden starts towing the line, everybody's going to be like, oh, that's bullshit.
Right.
So it's like, you let it, the controlled op got too big. You should have canceled him about when he was the size of Alex Jones, whenever you canceled Alex Jones.
Right.
Who's also controlled op. But they've let Joe Rogan get too big because they thought he was a little more lefty, but he got too much tell the truthy.
Right, exactly right. I mean, the problem with we're gonna delve into a little bit about this lockdown from March of 2020, and by the way, Sean, as far as Mark Sargent, probably so. As far as someone to see the controlled opposition, or maybe even a shield. I think he's a nice enough guy, but no, I don't trust him, and I do believe that he's pretty problematic, and one of the main reasons why we're making this film documentary, Flatten the Curve, which anticipate this sucker coming out on February the 22nd of the year 2022. So 2/22/22, which is interesting. So I think it's a perfect time to release the movie, and I think it's just going to be the start of a trend. We're probably going to have a segmented, maybe part 2 and part 3.
Nice.
So on. That would be up to Vicker. But the problem with people are waking up. There's no question that there is a mass awakening that's coming down. But unfortunately, people are waking up in complete confusion. Most do not even realize the nightmare that they woke up from. The COVID stuff. I mean, if you think about it, you ever alone in a room, and you might be in a different place other than your home, and you wake up in the morning, you say, "Where am I? Wait, okay, I'm somewhere." You don't recognize your surroundings, and this is the same thing. It's hard to wake up from the matrix. I mean, when you realize that our world, our reality, our very reality is run by blood drinking, child raping psychopaths, but it's populated by brainwashed cowards. People are not, they trust in government. Government has become their God. But there is a mass awakening taking place. And, I pray to my Lord Jesus Christ every day that people get away from the matrix completely, but they all wake up to this COVID stuff. And I think they're losing their handle on it. I think this stuff is petering out because it didn't work quite to the proportions, especially in the United States of America, which is, as you know, is the mystery Babylon in the Bible. We are the new Roman Empire.
We are Rome. We're definitely the beast. I think the beast is just always here, but that's I have a whole other philosophy we could get into with that stuff. But
if you figure that when you wake up completely out the matrix, then you realize that signs and symbols actually rule the world. Now, Now, it rules the world. It's not the words or nor any law. It's actually signs and symbols. And numerology is what? That's the god of that's Satan's minions. Everything that they do, satanically speaking, it has to fall on a certain date, a certain time, and they use all symbols and obviously numerology is big in Satanism, and but always think about the wall. I always thought they want to build the wall, right? Is that to keep everybody out, or is it to keep us in? I always thought, what's the point of building the wall when the real terrorists already live here?
Right.
The real terrorists, they live here. What are you keeping out?
Yeah. It's crazy.
So, but it's and I tell you what, Satan's greatest lie in this world, and it's here, is transhumanism. This, my friend, is the mark of the beast. And that's
see, I am a preterist, I guess is what you would call me. I believe that Jesus did his work and completed it completely in 70 AD when Jerusalem was destroyed. And right. I think that religion is now, the Bible is used as a control mechanism. And what we're seeing happening, that people get up in arms every 10 years because some new prophecy is being fulfilled, they think. And this temple's coming, they think. There's no temple coming. This stuff already happened, but they're using it as predictive programming because you've been taught for the past 100 and 150 years or so that Jesus is coming on the clouds for us, rather right. than Jesus came on the clouds for those, the ones he said, some of you are here that will still be alive when you see me come in my kingdom. So, and that's where the issue is predictive programming. Religion is used to control us, just like science is used to control those who won't adhere to religion. It's just the same thing. Right. Same arguments. It's just like if you have a Bible debate, you can have a Baptist, a Pentecostal, a Methodist, a Mormon, all these guys, and you can have a Bible debate, and they can all twist any single verse to fit anything they want it to fit without ever having to actually prove anything, because it's just proof texting. It's how I take it and how I interpret it. Well, if that's how it is, it means it probably wasn't written to you, because anybody can just interpret it, and I can just say, well, no, your interpretation is wrong, as mine's right. And that's exactly what science is doing. They give you an equation, never actually give you proof, and then they reify their model, just like we reify religion with a proof text rather than an actual physical proof. Right. That's where I try not to even do the religious argument at all when it comes to Earth is flat. It's physically, no, measurably, scientifically, observable, measurable, like it's flat. Right. That's not complete. Not completely flat, but we do know one thing: 70% of the world is water, and water is 100% always level and flat. So if I don't see how you can get that type of spherical ball with 30% to work with. So we know 70% is definitely flat. And but anyway, hey Goose, I'm not trying to change your mind, man. Love you, brother. Thanks for commenting. Go ahead. Sorry. Change my mind. Well, no. Let me thank you for that. Flat Earth is religious. Can't change my mind. I get it, but I'm cool. Not religious, and I would gather to say that no longer you aren't either, because I think religion is one of the main problems of mankind. Religion was created so everybody would hate each other. Actually, the Vatican created Islam in 628 AD. So religion was made to distort and for man to provide a culture of hate. Because believe me, Jesus and God in the Bible is about love. And so if people could just learn to love each other and respect each other, you want to be treated. You want to treat people the way you want to be treated. Yeah, dude, that's my whole thing is that's like if you look at all the ancient cosmologies, and that's why I think flat Earth is a big deal, is because it unites all the different religions. That one thing,
Right.
it unites, and it's like, oh, maybe I'm just looking at God from my perspective, and that's okay that this is how I view God, and it's okay that that's how they view God. But this is one constant truth that's in between all of them that ties it together.
Sure.
That we live at this on the same place.
Right. Right. Hey, by the way, Robbie, as far as, going back to earlier in our conversation, you had suggested, yeah, I think the Luciferians, the Freemasons, they know the Bible too. Believe me, Satan knows the Bible better than almost all of us. And
Well, I mean,
they
that's who
use
wrote the Bible.
exactly.
The
They
King
using the
James
blue.
Bible was written by King James, who was a Freemason. Like,
Right, right. And they follow the blueprint of Revelations as their blueprint for the return of Christ. First, is
it is
Antichrist
specific
a
stuff.
person or is
Yes.
it a system?
Say it again. Sorry, Mark. I was just replying to a comment there.
No problem.
You're
I
good.
said the Antichrist system, the beast system is amongst us. Is the Antichrist a person or is Antichrist the system, the beast system that exists today?
It's not a person. It's always I mean, it's people, like, but not a antichrist. Like, just like Satan is not one, you know, being. Peter was Satan at one point. It just means adversary. It's like, and that's what Antichrist is basically the same thing. It's anything that is opposed to Christ.
Right. And also we were talking about scriptures. You think about the confusion that these Freemasons decided to change over 3,000 words in the Bible. And more than likely, you can't find a Bible today with the word firmament. Genesis chapter 1, verse 6. I mean, God made a firmament, in firmament 93:1 in Psalms, they use the word expanse or expansion or vault. It confuses the heck out of people. But when you're deleting the words, you got to figure how strong the Bible is when these Satanists are actually changing the words to confuse people, to make people less spiritual, to make people less understanding. And as far as interpretive conjunction that you were going, it's your interpretations. I guess it is going to be interpreted differently. You got 300 different companies making different Bibles today. And it's hard for man, but obviously it's very powerful because these Satanists have deleted and changed words to confuse the truth from mankind.
That's why I think it's all, and I think, and this is me personally. I think we give too much credence to their Satanists. Do they do these practices? Yes, I believe they do. I don't think it's because there's any power in it. I think it's because it keeps people stirred up and keeps people arguing about other stuff together. It's using religion and your fear of what you think they're doing. They don't actually have any kind of supernatural power in any of their stuff. There is, like, they just plant stories of things that happen. It's just all fear mongering. They sow fear, use your religion to then keep you fighting with each other over what to be afraid of and not to be afraid of, instead of us coming together and saying, no, you're the problem.
Right.
And you need to go away, and taking down the elites, those that think elite, those with the Lord, those that think they are like God.
Right. And I agree 100% what you're suggesting, and because they rule through fear. Evil is going to rule through fear. And I had family members that used to get upset with me when they first locked us down. Everybody's wearing masks, or what I would call face diapers. You know what I mean? You go in a Walmart supermarket and you start falling in love with people's foreheads. I even walk up, hey, you got a nice forehead. you don't know if they're smiling at you or telling you to get screwed. You know what I mean? I mean, it was so preposterous to me. I've actually had family members
Right.
that got upset because I wasn't living in fear.
Right.
There's no fear in the Lord. Fear is an unclean spirit. It comes from the enemy. You should not fear anything.
Dude, here, check this out. I'm 40. I know I'm not young anymore, but I'm also not that old, like 40 years old. And I remember as a kid being instilled with not what, like, I had nothing for what we call America today because it's not, I don't know, but we were instilled with this sense of pride to be, hey, not because, oh, we're the best and want to beat you, but because we love freedom and we love independence. And like, that's what was instilled in my brain was independence and freedom and liberty and not what's been happening here. So I'm just like, I don't get it, man. It doesn't compute with my brain at all.
Yeah, yeah. It's actually it was, but you know, you don't put yourself in a closet and pretend like that you're something you're not. You know what I mean? I've had I'd walk in stores. I have my little badge on me. You know, I'm a medical exempt from wearing any face diapers. Well, face mask. You know, and never wore them. I wore them twice on airplanes because I just didn't want to go through. Of course, I had my nose showing. They come the stewardesses, the flight attendant Nazis would come down aisle, making sure that you're covering your head. You might as well just wear them on your eyes, your nose, just cover your whole damn face. In fact, put tape over it. That way you can't breathe anything. It's because I feel for older people wearing these things because it looks like they're gonna. Some of them are real red, like they're about to pass out or have a heart attack. And yeah, ridiculous, huh? And what's really preposterously, just absolutely ridiculous is like in New Orleans, for instance. I live in Mandeville, Louisiana, about 30 miles north of New Orleans, over the world's longest bridge over water, the Lake Pontchartrain Causeway. So I'm in a little small town, but in New Orleans, like places like New Orleans, you go to a restaurant with your mask on. You have to, when they sit you down, you got to have that mask on. But you know what? When they sit you at the table, you could take your mask down. It's like COVID only lives at the entrances and the exits, but at your table while you're eating, COVID don't go there. Yeah. So it's just
COVID don't go there.
It's shameful to me how people aren't using their noggin enough.
We don't play that. That's what just went through my head. We don't play that. I gotta get my extension cord over here. I gotta plug up my phone. Oh, it's gonna die. Power. Y'all let Mike do his thing, guys.
We have a 90%er on. That's fantastic. But we got to get him over the hump. We need an extra 10%.
No, he went 90 on the other way.
Oh, I got you. Well, we got a lot of work ahead of us, don't we?
Yeah.
Going back to Tesla and Einstein. Now think about this for a second, okay? Up until when they started bringing out their theoretical physics, astronomy, let's use the blackboard as the determiner of what truth is. When did theory ever become a fact? You know what I mean? And yeah, if you want to doubt that the Earth is flat, why don't we do this for a second? Okay, they got scriptures that clearly state the Earth is. Movie Samuel chapter 2, verse 8, he raiseth up the poor of the dust and lifteth up the beggar from the dunghill, to set them among princes and make them inherit the throne of glory. For the pillows of the earth are the Lord's, and he hath set the world upon them. Now, think, Robert, it gets strong. Psalm, the Lord reigneth. He is clothed with majesty. The Lord is clothed with strength, wherewith he hath girded himself. The world also is established that it cannot be moved. It's not a spinning ball going to 1,037 miles an hour at the equator, on a 23.4 degree tilt. It's absurd that they taught us this in school, that these people who were the greatest mathematicians in the world, but like Tesla said, it has no relation to reality. Now think about the early scientists, the greatest scientists in the world in the early 1900s, during the time that Einstein and Tesla were here. Let's look at the science now. You might say, well, you're just a religious, you believe everything the Bible says. The Bible was written by man. Well, guess what, Jackson Brown? Your science books were written by man also. And, let God be true and every man a liar, But think about the scientific tests which prove the earth is not moving, okay? You got Aries failure, which the proof of that, the experiment was called Aries failure. The proof was that starlight moves. Telescope remains stationary. Then you got the Michelson and Morley experiment. They proved there was no rotation of the earth. These were the best scientists, astronomers in the world. Then you got Michelson and Gale that proved that ether moves, not the earth.
Not the earth.
And then
well, here's the thing: is if you accept relativity as a working, real life reality thing, and then you want to come in and talk about, well, how'd you picked up drift on a laser gyro, so it shows the Earth's moving? No, because if so, then you just killed relativity, because you cannot. Einstein said it himself. Brian Cox, a physicist who is now I'm not going to call him a theoretical physicist, because he's not a physicist. He's a theoretical physicist, which was what Einstein was also.
Right.
And they will tell you can't prove it from Earth. There's nothing you can do. So the only proof you can ever have, physical proof, is to say you're in outer space looking back at the Earth. There is no other physical proof. It's impossible, because you're going to violate some other claim that you're making to get that physical proof.
Right, exactly right. Right. Because finally, because remember what we alluded to earlier, the word ether, AETHER, does not even exist in their theoretical physics equations. The Sagnac experiment shows that light travels through the ether, Robbie. No vacuum exists. Let me ask you a question. The Earth's gravity, vacuum of space start? Is there like a yard line at the 50-yard line? So, how high is it where the Earth's atmosphere, the gravity's over with, and then the vacuum of space begins?
It's actually, I've been doing some reading and listening to some different things today, and the claim is that immediately when you leave the surface of the Earth, the vacuum, they're calling the vacuum, even though there's no physical proof of this and no one could ever recreate it, but they're now going to say, they're saying that the vacuum is a gradient, and it begins immediately as soon as you leave the Earth.
How convenient.
Right. And then it's the further up you get, the greater that vacuum gets, which still defies physics regardless, and you can't recreate it. But that is the new official narrative from the heliocentric model. And this is why another reason I don't like to bring on people that are trying to debunk flat Earth, because all they want to do is debunk flat Earth. They don't want to defend the globe, and they don't even know what the newer arguments are.
So everything they're saying is stuff that's just like, I could say, no, you're wrong, but they're like, no, blah, 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 because they learned that 5 years ago in whatever physics class, or 12 years ago, or a year ago for some of the things.
Yeah.
So that's why it's like, you don't even know what the new thing is, and you don't even know what laws you're violating in the process of doing that. So it's just like, all you're doing is reifying. You're not proving anything. You're reifying. I don't know if people know what that means, but
Well, you know, a great point you make, because, you know, I don't care how many degrees you have on the wall. You know what I mean? If at the university level and above, they don't tell you, they tell you what to think. They don't tell you how to think. There's a big difference. You just you regurgitating the garbage that you learn at the university level. Well, supposing that the garbage that you learn, I don't care how educated you are. Some of the biggest morons I know are some of the more educated folks. They good in their field, but they have no common sense about anything else. You know what I mean? They're so heavily indoctrinated into that field. They're good at what they do. But, you know, how good can you be at anything if you're basing your work that was based on lies? You know what I mean? How smart are you if what you believe to be true was a bunch of garbage by a bunch of Freemasons that wanted to divorce your spirituality from God, your Creator, in the true Word of God? There's,
materialism.
there's no money in truth, buddy. The money's in lies. Believe me. Truth isn't worth. The truth is boring. It's more simple. It's more common. It's more common sense. But there's a lot more money into the lies as opposed to the truth.
Oh, hey, again, thanks, CJ, for the reminder. This is Mark Hollander, guys. He's author of the book Flat Truth, and is part of the Flatten the Curve movie that comes out on the 22nd of this month. Just realized I hadn't mentioned that in a little bit.
That's all right, and thank you for mentioning that. You know, for our listeners, if what I, you know, I'm the author of Flat Truth, but before I actually penned Flat Truth, which took me about a year and maybe 14 months to write, I was actually took a year and a half of my life before then. I was writing a book about UFOs in a 68 different alien races, and I wind up burning the transcript, and my publisher uh, tried to sue me. And so when I woke up to the truth, I broke my neck in a car accident. I had nothing to do. I was out of work for 9 months, and this was back in 2015. And I had just woken up to the truth in 2014. I was supposed to publish my book about UFOs in 2015, and I ditched it. I said when I woke up to flat Earth, what, you know, just ordering books about Copernicus compared to people like William Carpenter, 100 proofs the Earth is not a globe. So it was confusing at first, but I woke up to the truth not with flat Earth. It was actually the Nephilim giants, the Nephilim, and by the Smithsonian Institutes, what destroying the bones of the giants. A lot of them were full skeletons. You know, more oftentimes than not, they had 6 fingers and 6 toes. But I'm talking about a 36-foot giant that was excavated in Egypt, and you had actually a 21-foot giant that was excavated, complete skeleton in Albany, New York. So, you know, when you got giants being dug up, and when I found out that the Smithsonian was hiding this information because it would prove that the Bible would be correct, that freaked me out. So I'm thinking that these people are heroes of archaeology, and of course, if you're an archaeologist, you know, you cannot talk about the giants of the past. You know, everything you can talk about dinosaurs and Fred Flintstone and all that garbage that they try to make you believe that there were
Right.
600 million years ago, and you know, all this stuff is Hollywood bollocks. You know, I can't even put my head around some of these ancient civilizations like Sumer or you know, when actually the world started in the Middle East. You cannot even, that's when they teach in atheism. They teach it because anything to do that's opposite polar opposite of what the truth is in the Word of God. To me, you're teaching the satanic system, and we are under the beast system, and we're going to be until Christ comes back.
Dude, so check this out. I actually shared this with Mike, a couple other people earlier. I came across just random channel today on YouTube, and this dude's thing was the Tartarian Christians, and it's going through. And I've skimmed through it before and didn't ever think about it. I went looking for just specific passages and never went back and actually read it. But the Apocalypse of Ezra or Esdras in the Apocrypha,
Right.
dude, it's pretty convincing. Like reading this, and it kind of shows you what the second return of Christ was in that time, going through. Like it shook even my preterist view of what I think happened, and it being all 100% spiritual. It kind of made me even question it a little bit, to where maybe some of it was literal, and that Genghis Khan, not what we've been sold as the story of Genghis Khan, but if you read it out of Esdras and some other books that connect it and refer to these accounts, and even some of Marco Polo's accounts, Genghis Khan was basically the second coming of Christ incarnate. And Genghis Khan is actually Khan Genghis, or King Jesus.
Right.
And like he goes through, it's 4 or 5 parts, and it's pretty not saying it's factual, but it's pretty convincing.
Right. It's interesting, if anything. It's hard to put your head around what's going on today, as far as we don't know what.
That's right, Bob.
Is. We've been fed so many lies. It's like we trust no. We got family members we don't trust anymore, especially what they've done. Divide and conquer is their agenda. It always has been, and it always will be. But us as warriors of truth need to collectively come together, because power isn't in one individual being. Power is in numbers of like-minded individuals. And when you got the power of the truth and the power of Christ, the power of trying to live right and do right, and stop listening to the lies, unplug the idiot box, then and provide yourself, you're going to have, spiritually speaking, is the problem with where people come in. They cannot connect that spirit with their flesh, with their mind. Because someone had mentioned, religion, or you're religious. I'm not religious. What I am? I'm spiritual. This is what I compare religion and spirituality. Religion to me is like putting a little goldfish in a little fish bowl, starting to bounce off that little bitty fish bowl that you get at the little fish at the aquarium store. You know what I mean? He's bored. You feed him twice a day, whatnot. But I'm spiritual. It's like taking that. The difference between spirituality and religion is you take that same goldfish and you put it in the ocean, as opposed to that little bitty fish bowl. And that. So I don't like anyone call me religious, because I'm not. But I'm very spiritual.
Well, here's the thing about it is we have a tendency in our flesh we want to excuse ourselves, and to excuse ourselves for things, we feel like we need to rule over someone else because of their bullshit, and for some reason they're weaker, and it's this hot tyrant heart that just wants to rule other people, because if you can rule other people, you can ignore yourself. And so what happens is we get a little bit of spirituality, we have some experiences, and you can like I have my own experiences I could share. You can believe them or not believe them, whatever. But they are what they are, and I can use those, and I can take those experiences and build a dogma around them, and create a religion, and say, okay, this is it, and it has to always be like this. And because I say it's always, because this is how it was this one time, and then you create religion, and that's why I'm trying to stay out of this whole let's make a model argument, because you don't need a model, because we're not trying to model it exact unless we can get up there to it. And if we can really get up there to it, let's do it and try. But show me some real footage of the getting up there to it, and not just tell me to believe you and give me cartoons and bullcrap videos. I say that to say what we're doing is we're just observing, saying, okay, it appears that this is what is happening. And that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying definitely this has to be what is happening 100% when it comes to things in the sky. Astronomy does not determine the makeup of the geography of the ground. And that's why I try, even out of the religious part of it. And that's where, yes, the Bible says it's immovable and those things are good. Yes, so you can see, well, yep, it lines up with the Bible over here. Science says we're moving. I can go test and see we're not moving. So yeah, maybe the Bible's right and not science when it comes to this aspect. And not just the Bible, but the natives were right coming up off their turtle, and that the earth is up on top of it and the earth itself is not moving. And, or, you know, whichever other version of it, they're all telling you that the earth is immovable and it's basically planar, but it has mountains and valleys and dips and crevices and things like that. And it's covered by some sort of a hard structure. Like, it's what everybody is telling you, except this one group. And it's the only group that's actually trying to force you into their way of thinking.
Right. Well, it's I do believe at every single level they hide in your creator from you. The beast system actually is the antithesis of truth. It's the
Humanism, man. Humanism and materialism.
exactly a consumerism, everything. But when you think about when they found the firmament, you had Admiral Richard Byrd, right after World War II. Well, he was a high level Freemason. He went on 5 voyages to Antarctica, and the second to last trip, was called Operation High Jump. And what he found there was High Jump discovering the wall, and he lost over 24 planes that hit an invisible barrier that modern scientists call an anti-gravitic weapons from the Nazis and UFOs and flying saucers. I think there's so many psyops associated with this story, hollow earth, this, that, because that's part of the liar's treats is to give
Listen,
people so
none
many.
of the World War II stuff about Germany and the occult and all the space stuff, that is all
Right.
propaganda.
Yes.
All propaganda. Hitler's a Catholic. Hitler was
Yeah.
a Catholic. He was not some occultist. Like, that's propaganda to go in with the Antarctica to distract and keep people from truth.
Right. And furthermore, what had happened, Operation Deep Freeze, is discovering when he discovered the firmament, his planes were actually crashing into the firmament. It freaked him out so much that after 8 weeks of his last voyage, he got out of Dodge. Now they tried to create this Nazi UFOs with a superior technology. Well, the superior technology is God's true world. And you think about this was in 1958 they created NASA, which the own logo of NASA is a forked tongue of a serpent. Go figure it out. NASA or Nasha in Hebrew, old Aramaic word means to deceive. So the very word NASA is to deceive. Now, in 1961, they created the Antarctic Treaty, where all nations are still abiding by. So whatever is in Antarctica is so extraordinary that they figured they needed to annex this land completely from any prying eyes in the world of anyone. Unless you're invited by the government or the military or you're a scientist invited by the government, you're always going to have your shadow walking with you because you can only go certain areas in Antarctica. And, so they deceived the world. But I think they created NASA, the moon landings to hide to hide firmament. There is no firmament. Antarctica was guarding the firmament. anything past 60 degrees south latitude in the southern hemisphere, you cannot go. You cannot penetrate 60 degrees south latitude. It's patrolled 24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So why can't we go there? Sure, it's cold as heck. We know that. However, why can't you go to Antarctica unimpeded by government, military aircraft, military ships, boats, trawlers, destroyers, whatnot? So something in Antarctica is so extraordinary that you and I will never see the light of day. But when we die, we're all going to know the truth, aren't we?
That's the thing about, and people say, well, you can go and you can go on tour. So let's just make clear, you're not allowed to freely explore Antarctica. You have to go through a huge process, and then that it's restricted, and there's places you can't go, like you can't freely explore on your own. And then even within that, if you do get on there to go do something, you can't, once you get past 85 degrees south, you're not allowed to take photos
6
anymore.
degrees south. Right, that's correct. And but I do want to give a shout out to RTS, realtruthseekers.com.
Net.
This a platform for truthers, and it's really I love the site, and even dunces with like me that's analytically compromised a little bit. They make it easy for you, but all the algorithms, everything to do with this site, they're going to try to monetize the videos. Well, we're not no longer we're going to need places like YouTube, which censors your every other word, and they give you the real views. And but I'm real excited about RTS. It's and ladies and gentlemen, go to realtruthseekers.com, and I think you guys would enjoy the content, the people like Eric DeBay. It's extraordinary, buddy.
Yeah, realtruthseekers.net.
Yeah, I get it. I get it on .com, but whichever gets you there. But .net.com, and I have my account established, and I do encourage your listeners to join up Real Truth Seekers, and also if you can, listeners, I do appreciate Robbie you having me on, and if you guys can go to Ferret Radio Live on YouTube, and if you don't mind, just join and subscribe and like our content. I think our content is getting really good, and but more importantly, the reason why you had me on is my brother from Spain, Vika Draziv. I'm very, very honored to be in this movie. I was able to write a book called FlatTruth, and FlatTruth doesn't really delve into everything. It's just anything that was on my mind. I kind of wanted to write 10 books at one time, and I just said, well, let me just give a chronology of a little bit of here. This is what I woke up to, and I tried to combine it into a decent read, which it is, I guess. I think you never completely satisfied, Robbie, but I'm satisfied enough to be able to put it out there.
That's awesome. Where can you get your book?
Well, you can go to Amazon.com, Amazon Prime. You can go to Walmart, Barnes and Noble. They all carry it. eBay, and I believe it's still relatively cheap. I think $19.99, and the hardback's $24.99, and but it's or you can get it on Kindle or on you can get that way for a lot cheaper, or you can get it online. But I do encourage people to buy it. I think especially people who are looking and seeking for the truth, and I think FlatTruth kind of stands on its own, but doesn't delve deeply into anything. It just tells you exactly what I found out, and to give you some tidbits about what some of the things that we talked about earlier tonight. And but I do host a show called Hoodwinked into the Age of Insanity, and I've had guests on. I think one of your people said, "Hey, Mark Sargent is a shill." It probably is. He was nice enough to come on come on our shows a couple times on Ferret Radio. But I had Rob Skiba on. I had if you're a rock and roll fan, I had the great Randy Jackson from Zebra. He was on about 7 months back, and they sold over 3 million records on the Atlantic record label. And Zebra happens to be from New Orleans, but they went to New York to make it big, and they did back in the '80s. And of course, he's an older guy like Neil Young is, but Randy's one of the best guitar players in the world. He used the 12 string. So if you go on Ferret Radio about 7 months back, he performed some Pink Floyd songs for us, and also some of Zebra's music. You know, so it was an interesting interview, but I do encourage people to steal a couple of your listeners.
Lost your sound again. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
All right, there we go. Gotcha. Cool deal.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear?
Mark Hollander from Flatten the Curve has been with us for the past hour or so. Well, right at an hour now. Talking about the movie, about his book, FlatTruth, and which is kind of like his little wake-up experience. In a book format. Sorry, I was thinking about something in that moment too. I'm actually kind of working on the same thing, but going more of a fictional route with it. Let Anyway, let's see. Jonathan, thanks, man. Thanks for stopping in. We all need to pull our money, go to Antarctica. I mean,
I agree. We need to go to Antarctica.
But we don't even need to go there to prove anything. We just need to go do a boat trip south of the equator, just don't go as below south to the 60th, and just hit from Australia going toward South America. There you go.
That's right.
I mean, that's all we need to do. Because if your distance isn't an enormous distance, if it matches, then that would be a physical proof at that point.
I agree.
I wonder if we could get the measurements of the underwater sea cables and total those up. Because if you totaled them up, that would give you your distance roughly, like your actual distance. Based on, because I'm thinking about looking at the azimuthal that has the sea cables mapped out on it.
Right.
I have to look at it. I have to go look at that map again and see if that's something that could be done.
Speaking
Did you get a good recording, Edgar? I think we lost audio again.
Yeah, we're having some audio difficulty.
We're probably in a peak time somewhere here or there. Well, got a lot of traffic or something. Thanks, Bob. Cameras are expensive. Waiting for those taxes. Man, I've
can't wait. I'm gonna hopefully me and Mike can get into some of this Tartaria stuff and some different views on it here later this week. It's gonna be hopefully some cool stuff. Do you think there's land outside the ice wall? I do think that's pretty simply the reason why. I think that's what it comes down to. It's land, resources, riches. The rich being rich and having something that nobody else has. I mean, it could be more like you can be more involved and you could have some kind of spiritual undertones to it, and they're evil bastards doing dark shit, and maybe that's true, and there does seem to be some evidence that supports it, but it doesn't have to be that. It could simply just be that it's more land and resources, and they're selfish bastards and just want it for themselves, and they can use it to manipulate and control people. Nice. Cool, Edgar.
Yeah. All right, Robbie. I agree. I mean, I think there could be land outside the ice wall, but we just don't know. We simply don't know. There's at some point there's a firmament. There's
Right. Maybe more than one. We're BK, I would agree with that. I think it's one of the reasons they throw so much stuff at us in different angles on occultism and spirituality, whether it's from a church perspective, religious, and all of it. It's all to keep you separated from right here, right now, of what's happening, and you taking control of now rather than it's got us focused on, oh, well, what could have happened here and what could have happened there. And instead, we need to be like, no, let's just take control of. Abraham sounds like an awesome dude, and I kind of believe that God did for Abraham what Abraham said, and I believe the things that happened, But to me, right now, how about let's just move on, take control, and write and have our own experience and our own lives and adventures and tales that we pass down to our children for them to pass down to theirs and to add more to, and those types of things, and actually go find the reality of where we live rather than just talking about it. Hold on, I gotta. Hey, Dad, love you too. My dad's in there. Yeah, we're having some audio issues for Mark, so I'm just yapping. Yeah, I've seen the Sprite videos, a few different ones of those now. Those are pretty cool. Hey, so I saw something today, and it just occurred to me. I was looking up like pictures of the ISS from Earth, like supposed pictures of the ISS, and there's a handful of them, like 5 or 6 or so, and they're all just this real crap image, all of them. But the same people that give you that crap image of the ISS that's supposedly 250 miles in the air will use that same telescope to give you this beautiful, overexposed picture of this supposed planet that's God knows how far away. It's stupid. Amazing planet. I need to check that one out, Vika. You there, Mark?
Can you hear me?
I can now. I got you.
Okay. I was actually trying to turn my camera on.
You'll have to exit the live, and then when I'll invite you back in like before, and you'll turn it on.
Okay.
Go ahead, Tammy. Dad up there still? Dad, you still there? Did I say I love you too? Oop. Cool. Hey guys, y'all wanna? The Antarctica Treaty is more than. Wait, what? The Antarctica Treaty is more than 500 years old? Thanks, man. Appreciate it, Real Truth Seekers. Thanks for the popcorn, Edgar. Hey, guys, I appreciate it if you tap the screen and all that type of stuff. And also, I guess I should not fail to mention, I do have a website, TruEarth TrueMan.com. And I've got like some shirts and stuff on there for sale if you feel like buying stuff. Help me recoup cost of, you know, buying cameras and equipment and doing experiments and things. I got Vika saying what? Vika, expound something on that. Let's see if he's back in yet. Got gone. Let's see here. So you guys are trying to get Mark back in here real quick. Thanks, Edgar. Appreciate you, man. Are you talking about like the Albano Monet or Monte or however you say his name maps? I'm wearing one, Dad. Here's one of them. And they're on the website. If you go to it, there's a tab for shop, and then you click shop, and then there'll be a button that's got some pictures, and it'll say shop now, and it'll take you into it. Yeah, I'm gonna do some things on it on the Urbano Monte maps. But this is one of them, Dad. You can do like this is army green. You probably like that one, and I've got, or you can do black or a couple other colors. Anyway, I'm going to do a thing on those maps at some point. I want to do a lot more looking into them and things. No, he probably thinks I'm crazy. But he'll tell you who to. Hey, Dad, who do they need to listen to for information about the flat Earth and Antarctica? What band should they listen to? He knows that. Terra Mars. Let me see if I can find these. I've got a file with them in there, but it's huge, so. Is Mark back in there? Pandora. Pandora is not in space. I can see that. AC/DC? No, that's not the right one. I mean, maybe them. I was thinking Boston. That's the one you gave that one day. I'm not sure if he's. There we go. All right. Hey, Mark, I'm about to invite you back in, and you just have to, before you accept it, when you're coming in, make sure you select for the camera to be gone. Oh, that was the joke? Oh. It's Hollander German. I'm not sure. We can ask him. You didn't get it. Oh, well.
That's all right. I'm not going to worry about it. I guess you guys can just look at my pretty face at another time. So, but anyway.
It's all right. Need some practice.
Yeah, what the heck? But that, I do want to give a shout out to all of everybody in the community that's supporting us and helping us navigate this process to February the 22nd and of 2022 of our Lord. Is that German? I'm actually, Hollander is Dutch German, and thanks for the question. I was on my mom's maiden name was Hahn, Hahn, which is German, obviously. My dad's side, a little Dutch in it, but my grandmother on my dad's side, her name was Maxine Mudge. So, about 90% Kraut, or, German, whatever you want to call us. But the name is more of a Dutch than German. And, but my ancestry, I still have relatives that live in Bonn, Germany. So, but to answer your question, yeah, German American.
Nice. Wouldn't be spring was the sun and moon's rotation is shifting. Could it be the areas? Yeah, I was actually watching some stuff, and they were talking about how the area of Antarctica was depicted a long time ago, and like this area right below South America was called Tierra del Fuego, which is like the land of fire or whatever. So it was thought to be really hot, and there were reports of, sometimes you physically couldn't even stand near the sun when it was out on its southern route.
Right.
That way, because it was so hot. So I'm not sure. I kind of feel like the ice thing is some kind of a technology, maybe to do with chemicals and all that type of stuff. The land is frozen over, and that's the fight on the warming. The whole global warming fight is to keep that ice from melting.
Right. I think that's a bunch of bollocks too.
Then it exposes everything.
Personally speaking, if you're familiar with pure oxygen, which is in Antarctica, they actually have a laboratory that it's filled with what they call sky ice. And it is blue, the color of the sky. And it doesn't melt. When it melts, it shrinks, but doesn't make your hand water your hand. It's actually about 200 degrees below. It's so much colder than ice, but it's blue, and it's found in Antarctica. So at some point, past the ice wall of Antarctica. So at some point, there is a firmament. I don't think it's infinite plain, infinite land. I think at some point you're going to hit a barrier, and it's in the sky. This is where the sky ice comes from. Pure. It is so cold, Robbie, that they have to carry them in thermoses. So because you can't just carry it in your hand. But when it does melt, it doesn't melt; it shrinks, and it's almost light as a cotton. Where you feel like it's going to be like a take that buoyancy where it's going to float up in the air instead of down on the ground, and with density. So it's amazing. It's lighter than ice, but it's the color of the sky, and it's found in those laboratories in Antarctica, which even the top level scientists said in Antarctica can't even. They have to have permission to go in this lab. There's only a few people that's allowed in this lab, but sky ice is pure oxygen. And if you can't nuke your way through it, Operation Fishbowl, Operation Dominic, if you cannot nuclear explosions couldn't penetrate the firmament, the sky ice. Well, there you go, buddy. As far as proof of the firmament, and it is found in Antarctica itself. So we don't know how far the land goes past the wall. It could be anyone's guess. But at some point, you're going to hit a solid barrier that's impenetrable, that you can't get through.
I think that's probably true.
Speaking of the firmament, when God said he divided the waters above the world with the waters below the world in Genesis, are you familiar with Dr. Michael McGree? He is back about 8 years back. He took one of those submarine vessels out of Mobile, Alabama, and at the bottom of the Gulf of Mexico, off the coast between Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana, he found the firmament on the ocean floor. And his little submarine vessel bounced off the water. They couldn't get through, but it was an ocean below the ocean. And mysteriously speaking, on his way home, his helicopter crashed and killed the pilot and him. So he never lived long enough to even actually explain his story. So when you're discovering the creation, God's real creation, somehow or another, you lose your life. And more oftentimes not under mysterious circumstances.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Dude, the helicopter thing is weird. A lot of helicopters are common, I believe, for this. It's weird to me.
Yes, for sure.
Wait, what, Brucey? Brine water. What is Brucey talking about? I missed something. What do we call it? Brine water, Brucey? Hey, Vika, I need to see this video that you did with the 500-year-old Antarctic treaty. I've not heard of such an animal.
Yeah, it's not 500 years old. The Antarctic Treaty was 1961.
Well, no, I think this is something. I think Vika is saying that he thinks it goes back further than that, and that's just like the modern version. I kind of had this view that a lot of shit went down, like the whole second coming stuff. It all happened, and when the dust settled, it was just mass confusion, and what we have now is just the best pieced together version of reality that the people who found it and were still there once all the dust cleared, and just trying to put together a reality. I think it's kind of the wrong type of people got in control, and so now all the horse shit is coming unraveled on them.
Right. Well, from a collaborative perspective, there aren't hundreds or thousands of people that's pulling the strings. This is a few of them, that's really in the know.
Right.
Just like, from a mind scratching aspect of the moon landings, it only occurred under one U.S. president, President Nixon. You know, and allegedly they landed on the surface of the moon, and all of a sudden now they suggesting they can't go back to the moon. They lost that ancient technology from 1969 through 1972. So I don't believe you could. The moon is something you can actually land on. I think it's a luminosity. I think it's got dielectric properties where it makes it appear colder at night, you know, with the negative energy, where the positive energy comes from our sun, which everything is electrical anyway. And in one of the Pink Floyd songs, if you notice, The Dark Side of the Moon, that Roger Waters expressed his belief, at least through music, that the reason why you don't see the dark side of the moon because it doesn't exist. So, you know, I think that's knowledge through music and just sending us a little clues, bits and pieces.
Yeah, that's like I picked the song for your little promo that I posted on TikTok was Full on the Hill.
Yes. Yeah, I enjoyed that because I really love it. It's he sees the sun going down, but the eyes in his head see the world turning around or spinning around. And that's, to me, is an amazing concept of being indoctrinated. Or you don't believe your own eyes, just believe with inside your brain has been taught. You know, that a form of brainwashing, indoctrination. And you know, John Lennon wrote a song about the wheels. I'm just watching the wheels. And that song, I'm convinced that song's about flat Earth. You know, we're no longer on a ball. You know, living in the ball, on a ball, and the merry-go-round and stuff. You know, I'm just sitting here. Look at Wheels in the Sky by Journey. You know, the wheels are moving. We're not moving. So yeah,
but it even describes the motion of the wheel, and it's how you can see why the moon looks the same, because as it moves on its circuit, it's turning like a wheel. So that's why you can see that same face everywhere.
Right, and you know what gets my blood flowing is when people say, okay, well, the Earth is flat, but why do we have planets? You know, why is the moon and the sun? We don't know. You know, a quarter is circle, it's round, right? But a quarter isn't a ball. You know, a nickel, a dime, a quarter. Right. You know, we don't know if there's another side. You only seen one side of the moon always. So conveniently speaking, the moon's supposed to be turning 2,200 miles an hour. The Earth is spinning 1,100 miles an hour. So that's the reason why we're always seeing the same side. You know, that's scientific Walt Disney bullshit. It just flies too high for me, you know, and it's just, they have to try to make everything convenient so their crazy equations would work, you know, whether, you know, why we see what
it's all reification. It's all.
Well, I mean, you do realize these high definition telescopes, okay? You can buy a telescope today. The digital telescopes at the coordinates of where Saturn or Venus would be, or Mars or Jupiter, you know, any of these so-called planets, they're not real. You're not looking at real. They got prearranged images at that coordinates, and you're not even looking at a real thing. You're looking at a computer-generated image that's installed in your telescope. So that's the whole deception of what you actually looking at is these digital telescopes.
Now, how can we prove that? Can we take them apart or find the programming in it?
Yeah, they pre-program with digital images. I'm talking about a digital telescope. I'm not talking about just a high-powered telescope. I'm just talking about the digital.
Right.
It's part of the master plan of deception and technology. You know, technology and deception conveniently runs together nowadays in the world that we live in.
Yeah, I believe that.
I digress. I can tell you one thing: the evolution of truth is really a beautiful thing. Whereas when I first woke up, it was a very ugly thing because you want to, you know, you try to you try to learn your way around the curb, as far as the mistakes that you made, waking up to the truth. You don't get triggered as much. You kind of pray for that open door. So I think the spiritual connect with the flesh is so very important to walk in knowledge, because there's a huge difference between knowledge and education. If you can combine that knowledge with what you have woken up to, the truth, then you can have a more beautiful walk and stop being ostracized from your family and friends. And oftentimes not, when you find the truth, it's so fragile, it's hard to handle. As you walk with the truth, you got to be able to know how to handle it, because more family. And you want that in a way, but you really want your family to be family and strangers to you. Obviously, you want to walk in the light. You don't want to get yourself in the dark. You may think you're walking in the light, but you're actually carrying the truth in the dark. And you're going to run in. When you're in the dark, brother, you can't see nothing. You're going to run into obstacles.
Maybe lost him again. Lose you?
Can you hear me?
I got you again. There we go.
Okay, I'm having a lot of audio difficulty on my end, and but I do want to thank you so much for inviting me on. It's been a tremendous honor, and I do again want to promote RTS, Real Truth Seekers. Ladies and gentlemen, go to .net.com, whichever gets you there. Just get there and join it's a growing society for truthers and truth seekers. And also want to give a shout out and ask your listeners if they would to go to Ferret Radio Live on YouTube, and please subscribe and like my content, my videos. I believe you guys will enjoy my channel on YouTube. So we're ever growing, and we're part of the collaboration with Flatten the Curve. So the movie documentary. So we are really excited about the release on February 22nd, and I'm very, very honored to be on your show. I'm so very honored to be on Flatten the Curve, and I think it's going to be epic. It's going to be legendary, and I think it's going to be a movie that we can pen for the ages. So I'm looking forward to the release on February 22nd, 2022, and by golly, I'm going to. I know you don't go on anyone else's shows. I think I heard that last night's Monday night's interview that you had with Rob Taylor. So, but I do want to give a shout out to your listeners and thank you guys for inviting me on. And it's been a true pleasure.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, guys. And Robert, would you end this segment with a song? Because I do like the way you play the damn guitar. I love music, buddy.
Dang it. Let me try to not get my wife in here on the butt.
You know me, I'm a music lover.
Man, it just got quiet. I had to turn the music I had down here. All right. Already, you hear the dogs barking?
That's my crazy dog.
This is the song I'm working on now. I got somebody collabing with me on it to make it good, hopefully. If you're looking for truth, you won't find it with your nose in a book. If you're searching for peace, your guns and war will never achieve it. I'm just telling you now, you're looking at the world upside down. Hey man, don't be a clown, wearing that upside frown. I'm just telling you why, it's to keep you from knowing that you can fly. One day you will fly. Don't let them tell you otherwise. Upside down life. Wake up, don't let them take you for a ride. Demons become enthralled. They'll kick and scratch to save their ball. And if you dare to doubt, to open up your eyes to the light, then you will never bow. The weight of cloud can put you down, upside down life. Upside down life. Upside down, inside out. Upside down life. Upside down life. Upside down, inside out. Upside down life. Tell me why you always spreading all these lies. It's time to see the truth. There's no breaking through this roof. Upside down. Put your feet on the ground. The world's not spinning around. We got mamas at the club while daddy's on Pornhub. Upside down life. Go home, son, and be with your wife. Vampires rule the world, got boys singing their girls. Upside down, it's how you live, man. It's your kids, take a stand. Upside down, inside out. Upside down life, brother. It's time to fight. Anyway.
Beautiful, buddy. Thank you so much.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you for having me, and have a fantastic night, brother. And really enjoyed it, and it's a pleasure coming on your show.
You too. Appreciate you, man.
Good night, brother.
You too. Again, I'm going to just give a shout out. We've got them on here too. Real Truth Seekers. Follow them right here on TikTok. Also, Vika Draziv. Follow him as well. I'm not commanding you to, requesting that you do. And then also realtruthseekers.net is how you access that. The movie Flatten the Curve will drop there. I'll also stream it live here on that day when it drops. And we'll probably have a couple more people from the movie over the next few days and going into next week. To give some different perspectives, some more pilots and marine merchants and all that good stuff. People that actually do the job and can tell you how it works. So it's pretty exciting, guys. I'm going to jump off here and go help with the baby, who I'm pretty sure is driving my wife crazy at this point. So love you guys. Y'all have a great night.